Being an Uber driver is all well and great, but let's be honest, it does have its share of pros and cons. And for some people, the cons heavily outweigh the pros. Well, if you're one of those individuals, you'll probably see why Instacart may actually be a better appealing option to make money with. That's what we're going to be covering in this video. We're going to be covering why Uber drivers are switching to Instacart, and we're going to give 6 reasons exactly why that is the case. Hello everyone, this is Elijah with the Rideshare Guy, and in this video we're going to be talking about Uber and Instacart and why some drivers prefer driving Instacart over Uber. My first entrance into the gig economy was actually being an Uber driver, and by Uber driver I mean rideshare, people in the back of my car. Then about 8 months later, I decided to integrate delivery and grocery into my inventory of things to select from when it comes to the gig economy. And right off the bat I noticed there are some differences between grocery shopping and rideshare. And I'm going to be honest, some of those differences makes Instacart a lot more favorable. And that's what we're going to be talking about in this video. We're going to give 6 reasons why Uber drivers are actually switching to Instacart. But before we jump into that, I do want to say if you're interested in becoming an Instacart shopper, you can click the link in the description below and get started. And you also want to check out our various tutorials and other Instacart videos that have been made by Tyler and Katie. With that being said, let's jump into reason number 1. And reason number 1 is driving food is just a lot more easier than driving people around nowadays. Specifically because you don't have to deal with any mask issues. I mean, obviously you need to wear a mask while you're delivering with Instacart, but I mean people getting in your car and not wearing a mask. There's nothing you have to enforce with food or groceries because it's not an issue. And I'm sure we all seen our fair share of videos of people just acting up over not wanting to wear masks, and this whole big scene erupts in your car. Well, that's not even a thought when it comes to shopping for Instacart because there's no people other than yourself in the car. The second reason is you have more general control over the location that you work in. And when you break that down, it makes for a safer experience and a more controlled experience. Aside from the obvious things I just mentioned, Instacart tends to keep you close to home if you're shopping at your local grocery stores. And with you being closer to home, most people will just consider that a safer environment because you know it better. The same actually applies for the grocery stores too, because you know the sections and you know where to get what. And if we're being technical, you're going to be spending less time on the road and more time in the stores. So from a driving perspective, it's actually safer too, because if we're being technical, every time you get behind the wheel, there is a risk. But if you're in the grocery store shopping more than you are driving, by definition, it is safer than being an Uber driver. The third reason that Uber drivers are switching to Instacart is there's more earnings opportunity. I did just mention before that your local grocery stores you're probably familiar with that you'll be shopping at, right? Well, if you want to pick up the pace and go a little bit faster, you'll actually make more money with Instacart as opposed to with being an Uber driver. Well, you can only go so fast before you'll get reported for speeding, in addition to probably getting a ticket. Piggybacking off of that concept, you can actually see the order before you accept it on Instacart. So if you see some items that you prefer not to get, then you can just choose to pass on that order altogether. For example, one Instacart shopper that we've talked to doesn't like getting orders that involve getting meat over the counter because there's too many different forms of roast. So if he sees that in the order, he'll just pass altogether. That's just one example of how you have more control with Instacart, and you can choose effectively which orders that you want based on which items that you're seeing. And that can affect how fast you do orders too, and all that is well within your control. Some notable places where guaranteed earnings have been happening pretty frequently lately include Atlanta, Austin, Buffalo, New York City, Charlotte in North Carolina, Maui in Hawaii, Philadelphia, and Pittsburgh. The fourth reason that drivers are getting converted to shoppers is because it's generally more flexible. With Instacart, you're pretty much guaranteed activity on the weekends, but we got to remember we live in an age where a lot of people are working from home. And 2020 did its job of accelerating the amount of people that are working from home. I say all that to say that a lot of people have switched to using Instacart for grocery shopping, including myself. So what that translates to is that there's going to be plenty of activity throughout the week for you to make money too. And based on the level of activities throughout the day, Instacart is very appealing for people who have others in their care in some form or fashion, whether that be kids or maybe you're taking care of your parents in the evening. Not only is the peak time of making money not late at night, like for Uber, we know that will be the bar rush between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. the peak time of activity is actually up in the day. So you can go, make your money with Instacart, then come home to your family and attend to their needs. Or just have your nights to yourself. Reason number 5 is driving around food is just plain more relaxing than driving around people. I mean, let's go ahead and acknowledge the elephant in the room. Groceries aren't going to get mad at you. Groceries aren't going to scream at you. Groceries aren't going to be complaining about what routes you're taking. Groceries are just going to sit there and be quiet. In fact, when you think about it, Instacart can be a very solitary activity where you basically have most of your time to yourself as you're driving. You may get a text or two from the customer, but that aside, you don't really have to have much interaction with people in general, which can be pretty refreshing from rideshare if I do say so myself. And since there's no one in the car with you, you're free to listen to whatever you want. Of course, you could blast your music, but it is a huge opportunity to listen to some audiobooks or podcasts on things that you're passionate about or other ways of making money. Reason number 6 is you can go at your own pace. So obviously you want to stay within the delivery expectation times, but within that range, you can go as fast or slow as you want. I mean, some people will speed walk through the whole store because they want to do it extremely fast, and some people might want to actually take their time a little more. And if at any point you need to take a break, you're free to take a break. In addition to that, being an Instacart shopper will actually keep you more physically active, which is better for you than sitting in the car for 8 to 12 hours a day, being an Uber driver. Boom, we have now given 6 reasons why Uber drivers are starting to pick up that cart and starting to shop with Instacart. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. And if you want to sign up for Instacart, you can do so by clicking the link in the description or in the pinned comment. And don't forget to check out our Instacart playlist, where we share various money-making tips and time-saving tips, which will result in you making more money with Instacart. Don't forget to like the video if you found value in it, subscribe if you're new, and hit that bell notification so you can be notified when we drop the next Instacart video. I'll see you in the next one. Be safe and profitable.